Arsalan Iftikhar is a human rights lawyer and senior editor at Islamic Monthly. Joins me now via Skype from Sterling in Virginia, near Washington, D.C. Good to have you with us. As far as you're concerned and as far as your understanding is Hoda Muthana, the American at the centre of the recent controversy, is she an American national? Because her nationality is what's confusing, certainly the State Department and the President.
Well, first of all, Sohail, I think there are a lot of things that confuse our president, none of which, obviously Trump's, no pun intended, what we're dealing with Hoda Muthana. Hoda Muthana was born in East Hackensack, New Jersey in 1994. After her father finished his tenure as a diplomat, she had a valid U.S. passport at birth. She renewed that passport. And according to David Leopold, former president of the American Immigration Lawyers Association, is that if she had a valid passport at the time of travel, there's nothing that Donald Trump or Secretary of State Mike Pompeo can say other than she's an American citizen who should be afforded the due process of law here in American courts. Indeed.
Well, then let's just move this forward, because there is an issue of sort of double standards here, because only, less than a year ago, 2 US citizens charged in separate cases regarding their involvement in Syria under ISIL were transferred, we believe, to the custody of the US, and one of them has been or will be soon in a court of law in the US. That was in, July 2018. Why is it that those US citizens can come back to the United States and Hoda Muthana is blankly refused?
So, I'll be honest with you, that is an amazing question. There have been several people who have been repatriated back to the United States to face trial for supporting ISIS. Several young men in the Minneapolis, St. Paul suburbs have been brought back. I don't know if Trump is trying to piggyback off of the Shamima Begum case in the UK, which is quite different in that our American constitutional legal system provides for due process under the both 4th and 14th Amendments, and most importantly, to renounce American citizenship, you basically need to walk into an embassy somewhere and publicly renounce it in front of people, and that's none of which she did, and she wants to face the American legal system. Again, she doesn't want a free pass. She wants American justice, and that is exactly what she should get here in the United States.
And of course, there is this issue of, coming back to the United States, being presented in front of a court of law. How difficult is that whole process? And are people in the United States worried generally about the fact that you've got a former ISIL individual coming back to the country, or that it's just going to cost a lot of taxpayers' money for something that may not incarcerate an individual that once didn't like the United States and wanted to destroy the United States?
Well, first of all, it needs to be made abundantly clear that ISIS is not the X-Men. They're not Transformers. These are idiotic human beings who make terrible mistakes. And like many idiotic human beings who make terrible mistakes, in her case, she actually wants to face justice. She might come back and plead guilty, after which there would be no trial. This is it's quite baffling because, we've already repatriated several former ISIS fighters to the United States. Here is somebody who was an ISIS bride. There's no indication that she took part in any military hostilities. And so, again, she's willing to, pay the piper. And then there's a great deal of hypocrisy from the Trump administration. As you know, a few weeks ago, he said that Europe should repatriate over 800 European ISIS fighters back to their own countries to face trial, because he said that it would create chaos in the region if they didn't. Yet he's not willing to take one, 20-something-year-old girl from Alabama back into the country to face trial. Again, it's just another face of hypocrisy from Donald Trump.
Just finally, Arsalan, I think I asked another contributor early in our schedule of Al Jazeera news bulletins throughout the day that is it a case that you can't always work out or tell who is an ISIL fighter, who is an ISIL sympathiser, or who is an innocent victim? And to prove this, getting the information, getting the evidence together from Syria for a court of law anywhere else in the world is always going to be very difficult. So the element of doubt will always be in the minds of any American when somebody who was an American and was with ISIL comes back to the mainland.
Well, first of all, Sahil, that's not entirely true. I mean, I think the vast majority of Americans have a very negative bias against ISIS, and so I don't think they're going to give her or anyone else any benefit of the doubt. And if we have brought back people who are self-professed fighters, surely we can bring somebody who is certainly lower on that totem pole. Again, it's just another face of the hypocrisy of the Trump administration, where they're willing to lecture the European Union and the rest of the world on things that we're not able to do. I mean, he wants to make America great again. Well, how about the American justice system, which has been pretty great for a while?
We'll see what happens. For the moment, Arsalan Iftikhar, thanks so much for joining us from the United States. Thank you.
Thank you.